This video, I discuss the benefits and potential downsides of working with a buyer's agent when purchasing a new home. My name is Jake Lyons, and I am a real estate agent here in Chicago. But before you think this is just a commercial for real estate services, stick around for the second part because there definitely can be some downsides to working with an agent, especially if you pick the wrong agent for you. Let's go ahead and dive into the benefits first. First benefit I'll talk about is specific market expertise. They'll have market expertise on your specific market of interest. And this is important because so often we might be influenced by irrelevant noise around us or our real estate knowledge. That could be anything from national news outlets reporting stats that don't apply to your area to maybe even advice given to you from a friend or family member who bought a house once like 10 years ago and thinks that qualifies them as a forever expert on all things real estate. I see that all the time. If the national news is telling you that real estate is tanking, you might think that's the case everywhere, only to find out that your local market is actually, it's the opposite. Things are crazy hot, or vice versa. It's important to be tuned into all different levels of news and stats and media, but when it comes to real estate, what's going on in your own backyard is really what you want to be paying attention to. As they say, location, location, location. Second benefit is that your agent should be your all access pass. What I mean by that is that any licensed realtor should have access to the MLS and the ability to set you up with a custom search, where that search should differ from anything that you can achieve on your own through one of the thousands of websites providing MLS data for free. Is the knowledge and ability to navigate all of the detailed search parameters available only in the MLS and guide you to the exact type of property that you're looking for. Websites providing MLS data are great if you're just kind of getting your feet wet, but really should not be relied on for your entire search the whole time, unless you either want to waste a lot of time looking through listings that aren't actually relevant to you, or you set your parameters too narrow and end up filtering out properties that might have worked for you simply because they weren't filled out properly on the listing side. This is the kind of thing that a seasoned buyer's agent should help you navigate. Licensed agents here in the Chicagoland area also have access to listings that are not available to the public through MLS websites yet. This is called the private listing network, and it's kind of like a hybrid off-market, on-market listing place where agents can post coming soon listings while the seller is preparing to go live to the public, or people use this just to test out different price points sometimes. You have to work with an agent to access this, and it can obviously be a huge advantage to see those properties before they hit the market, the open market where everyone else can see them. In today's market of super low inventory, there should also be some kind of plan in place to engage off-market opportunities. I have a program where I reach out to owners of homes that meet the profile of what my clients are looking for and try to facilitate some mutually beneficial off-market transactions. The third benefit is going to be showing coordination. Most people, I think, have a tendency to think of real estate agents as just people who show up and open doors. This video hopefully should prove that there's a lot more to it than just that, but indeed, I can't deny that showing up and opening doors is a part of our job. We can help coordinate and schedule showings and hopefully be able to provide some valuable insight and ask important questions during the showings themselves. Next is property analysis. This is easily a top 2 or 3 skill that you need to make sure any agent you work with has. The ability to take a property that you're interested in and provide a thorough, unbiased analysis of how that property is priced relative to its comparable competition, how the immediate area in general has been growing or declining, and just breaking down both the fundamental and technical pricing analysis on that property that you're considering spending 6 or 7 figures on is a huge, huge deal, and might be the most important thing that any agent can provide. The next major benefit is negotiation. So the only reason I would say that property analysis is not clearly the number 1 most important skill your agent needs to have is because that title is reserved for the need to have strong negotiation skills. Now, when people think of negotiation, I think it's easy to picture like some pressure cooker situation that you'd see on a reality TV show or something like that. It can feel like that sometimes, but in reality, negotiation is much more just about being able to read situations, the people involved, and all of the variables at play. It all comes down to understanding who has leverage and who's in the stronger position to request or deny various elements of the pricing and terms. Market conditions, time on market, motivation for selling or buying, number of offers, all kinds of things can play a role, and it's the agent's job to combine their IQ, EQ, experience, relationships, and market expertise to provide the best possible outcome for their client. Next major benefit is the agent should have a strong professional network. There are many different actors that play important roles in a real estate transaction. There are lenders, attorneys, insurance agents, inspectors, contractors, title companies, just to name the first few that come to mind. You can, of course, piecemeal your team together by going down a Google or Yelp rabbit hole or whatever, however you want to do that. But if the agent you're working with has been doing this a while, they most likely already have a collection of connections in those domains that they know, like, and trust, and that they can refer you to. Working with a team of professionals who already have some expertise and rapport working together on successful transactions can make the whole process go much, much smoother. Next benefit is transaction management. Real estate transactions require a ton of paperwork. There are multiple kinds of contracts, disclosures, and addendums that need to be used depending on the type of transaction, the type of property involved, and the location of that property. And that's just for the initial purchase contract. Along the way, between contract and closing, there are all kinds of different scenarios, attorney letters, things that need to be verified, and initials, forms that the title company needs for various reasons. Like, it's a lot. It really is. And again, I'm sure the information is out there. You can spend hours on YouTube University learning enough to get it 80% right, or you can just trust a real estate agent who's trained and experienced to know exactly how to handle the unsexy but crucial parts of a real estate transaction. And the last one that I will touch on is no direct costs. So this one is a bit nuanced, a bit controversial even. Our services aren't free, like you might hear some agents improperly suggesting. We're paid from the proceeds of the sale that you as the buyer are providing the funds for. So in a way, you are paying us indirectly. However, on paper, we're compensated by the listing agent as a co-op agreement for bringing the buyer to their listing. And that commission, much more often than not, is already kind of baked into the price of the property, whether you work with an agent on your side or not. So in short, given the way the system is set up currently, you're only doing yourself a disservice if you choose not to work with an agent who's representing your best interests. The bottom line on the benefit side is that working with a real estate agent on the buy side can save you time, money, stress, and energy if you work with someone who is good and knows what they're doing. And that caveat will bring me to the potential downsides of working with an agent as a buyer. Now, I don't really have a big list of cons for this one. I really only have one downside of working with an agent on the buy side, and that is a lot of agents kind of suck. I've been sitting on this for a while. I've got some stuff I'm going to get off my chest here. Okay. It's not lost on me that real estate agents don't have the best reputations among different types of professions. In the eyes of many, I think we're hanging out with used car salesmen and ambulance chasing injury attorneys. And honestly, after having done this for a few years, I can kind of see why. Sometimes I feel like easily the worst part of being a real estate agent is the fact that I have to interact with other real estate agents. Here's the unfortunate thing about the state of real estate agency, in my opinion. The barrier for entry to be a licensed real estate agent is incredibly low given how high stakes the job really is. As long as you have the equivalent of a high school education, can sit through an online class for a couple weeks and score at least 75% on an exam that really isn't that hard, and pay a few $100 a year for licensing fees, you're seen in the eyes of the law as qualified to lead people through the biggest, most complex financial transaction they may ever have in their lives. No shadowing requirement, no apprenticeship requirement, no formal real-world training or experience requirements of any kind, really. This leads to a situation where a lack of professionalism, communication skills, analytical abilities, emotional intelligence, and just common sense is running rampant in real estate. I compare that to what I did before getting into real estate when I was a Series 7 licensed financial advisor. That was way harder. You had to study for months. The test was very difficult. Most people didn't pass it the first time. You had to be sponsored by an accredited broker in order to even take the test. You had all kinds of oversight from regulatory systems on every level. It was a lot, but you always understood why it had to be that way, because after you get this license, you're going out there and you're giving advice to people that could dramatically impact their lives and their families' lives for generations, like honestly. And corny as it sounds, it's a privilege and a great responsibility. And in my opinion, real estate has all those same stakes. Few things determine how a person or a family's existence is going to be shaped more than the location that they live. It determines the people you'll meet, the opportunities you'll have, the activities you'll engage in, where you'll shop, how you'll commute, all kinds of things. Where your kids go to school. I mean, it goes on and on. Not to mention that, once again, it's a huge investment, the biggest investment most people will ever make. Bad advice can have all kinds of far-reaching negative consequences. This should be an obvious statement, but I'll say it anyway. Not every person who has their real estate license is equally qualified to help you achieve your goals. So many people just end up working with the first agent they come across, or want to, give their cousin's girlfriend's neighbor who just got their license a chance, because they assume all agents are the same and can do the same things and give the same advice, but this simply is not true. Make sure the agent you choose to work with can demonstrate the ability to help you get what you want. Set up a consultation, see how they work, see what their reviews are like, things like that. Don't just trust anyone with the biggest financial decision you'll ever make. Simple as that. I hope this has been helpful. Again, my name is Jake Lyons. If you're looking to buy or sell in the Chicago area, I'd love to have a chat. Even if not, and you got some value out of this video, please give me a like, subscribe, comment, follow, etc. And I look forward to seeing you again the next time. Thanks, friends.